Matthews got it back to pass. Four-man rush. Stafford looks, throws deep left side. Got hole wide open down there. They tore into the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, baby, how's that for 3rd and 15? 49 yards. Stafford to Hall, and the Lions have a chance to double up their lead.
Matthew Stafford, the long touchdown pass to Marvin Hall on Sunday, part of the Lions' victory over the New York Giants. Now, the Lions had 3 games in a row that they lost. They could have won each one of them. They could be, not just in the thick of things, they could be one of the best teams in the NFC right now if they had a few things fall their way. Matthew Stafford's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for most of his career, but because the team around him has never been all that great, he doesn't get the same consideration. He's not viewed as a franchise quarterback, even though he's definitely paid like one. And Big Cat, your take from the ultra-popular podcast, pardon my take, is that Matthew Stafford is a dark horse MVP candidate. You have the floor.
Yes, I'm going to give credit to Matthew Stafford. Now, let me just set the table here and say I know that he's not going to win the MVP. That's not what this is. It's going to go to Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, guys who have had the narrative, because it's a narrative award, have the narrative and the team behind them. The other thing I should say, Mike, is that it is a quarterback's award, right? We just mentioned off air, but 2012 is the last time a non-quarterback has won the MVP. So knowing it's a quarterback award and throwing out all the running backs and saying it's going to be just the best quarterback, Matt Stafford should be in the conversation. If you made a list of 5 guys, he should be in those top 5 guys in terms of quarterbacks this season. Right now, Mike. Right now, touchdowns, you see that tied for second? Well, guess what? What that doesn't show is the guys that are ahead of him and tied with him, they have all played one more game than him. So he had his bye week. Aaron Rodgers hasn't had his bye week. Russell Wilson hasn't had his bye week. Deshaun Watson hasn't had his bye week. So Matt Stafford, for all intents and purposes here, is leading the league in touchdowns. He's limiting his mistakes. He's only got 4 interceptions. His completion percentage is I think, top 5. But more than anything, Mike, when we talk about MVP and what you're doing for your team, the team around Matthew Stafford is a lot less talented than the team around Russell Wilson and the team around Deshaun Watson and the team around Aaron Rodgers. The Detroit Lions, we've known for years, cannot run the ball. They just lost Kerryon Johnson, but they cannot run the ball. When you look at the Seahawks and the Texans, those are top 10 running teams. The Packers just outside of that. Aaron Jones has been very good for the Packers this year. So Matt Stafford is asked to do more with less, and he has been fantastic this year. Again, he's not going to win MVP because the Lions are probably not going to be good enough, and because, it is a narrative award, and it feels like we've anointed whatever the next guy is going to be, Deshaun Watson, because of the Mahomes injury. But Matt Stafford should be at least discussed in the MVP race and should be in that top 5 dark horse, getting the credit that he deserves to be the league's MVP.
See, I disagree with you that it's a narrative award. I think that the formula is very simple. It's typically one of the quarterbacks from the top 2 seeds in either conference. If you're the quarterback of a team that finishes with the 1 seed in the AFC or the NFC, you're already going to get serious consideration. And if you're not one of the quarterbacks for the teams that are in buys, you've got to have some statistical overachievement that just makes you stand out among the rest. Something historic or close to historic. Then again, that never got Drew Brees the MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, yes, but never the MVP. Typically, it goes to somebody from one of the top teams, unless there is, like Adrian Peterson, the year he almost set the single-season rushing record. That was an exception. Typically, it's a quarterback from one of the top teams in either conference.
But Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson aren't going to be top teams in their conference. I mean, maybe the Texans.
Well, then they may not win it.
Seed. Right.
Then it's going to be Aaron Rodgers then. If the Packers are the 1 seed, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
But I think the narrative behind those guys, you see the buzz early. I think that's a big part of it. When you start getting the conversation in September about being an MVP, I think that helps you propel you to being an MVP. That's how a lot of these awards work. It's what's in the public conscience here. What people are saying, oh, look at that guy. He might be MVP. There's articles written about him. People talk about it. So that's kind of my point with the narrative award, that you have to have the MVP buzz far before December rolls around. And I think that those 3 guys all have it. Matt Stafford doesn't. You're right. The Lions aren't going to be good enough. but I think he's doing.
You can make a late run. No.
You can,
if they would, let's say they would run the table, right? They've played 7 games. Let's say they would go 9-0 the rest of the way, and they finish 12-3-1, and they make it to the playoffs, and he has some ridiculous statistical season, and he leads the league in touchdown passes. I mean, there are guys who will come on later in the year. Typically what happens is the narrative locks in early because the guy's playing incredible football, and he continues to play incredible football. But this year especially, the Mahomes was the guy. And then they lose a couple of games, and it opens the door for Russell Wilson. And then Mahomes gets injured, and now, you can't miss more than 1 or 2 games and not fall off the map altogether because there's guys who are going to be played all 16 games. I'm telling you, I think there's a chance for Stafford, but he's going to have to earn it the back half of the season. And going 8-1 or 9-0 is going to be a big part of it.
This was all a trick. I just started the narrative. See? I started the narrative. Now it's being talked about. He deserves more credit than he gets.
Not very much.
That's all I'm saying.
Not very much after this. Hey, you get credit. You started the narrative. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.